I'm Tamika D. Mallory.
And it's your boy Mysonne, the General.
We are your host of TMI.
Tamika and Mysonne's information, truth, motivation, and inspiration.
New name, new energy, but
same old us. It's your boy Mysonne, the General. Tamika D. Mallory couldn't be with us today. She is working on her book and she has a deadline. So I'm gonna hold us down. But this book is amazing. You know, she done let me hear a couple of things. It's amazing. So as soon as it goes on, make sure you pre-order and get this book. The book is, I'm not going to tell you the name of her book before she tells you. I would tell you, but it's a dope name. Book is fire. But I'm gonna just hold us down today, man. I'm gonna have some guests on. We're gonna talk about what's going on with this election, because you know this election is crazy. There's so much things going on online, and I'm not gonna talk about it now. I'm just gonna wait till we have guests. You know, we're talking with Black men today and how they feel about this election and all of the things that come with that. With that being said, I had a dope week this week. Have y'all been watching the Olympics? Olympics has been exhilarating. You know, sometimes you don't have a lot of energy, and sometimes you just feel like down. And because I go through those periods sometimes. Sometimes I'm real energetic and I got a lot of motivation to do stuff, and then sometimes I just don't. So this week was one of those weeks that I didn't have a lot of energy to do stuff. But watching the Olympics, I have to tell you, the last two basketball games of the Olympics, like I watched the race, Sha'Carri Richardson, it's amazing. You know, just watching her, she always has this level of energy that is contagious. Like you watch her and you see her run, and just everything about the way that she presents herself as an athlete is just motivational to me. Like she comes from, you know, we know all of the controversy she's had, and just keep seeing her overcome, and despite this, continue to win. That's in itself is motivation. But I watched the USA play against Serbia first, you know, and that was like last week. And that game, I caught it in the fourth quarter. One of my friends, Ruben, calls me like, yo, you watching this game? The U.S. is down by 16 points. I'm like, 16? Yeah, they losing to Serbia. Is in the fourth quarter, man. They're about to lose. So I'm like, damn, they're about to lose. Now, if you know, Serbia is Jokic's team, you know, who was actually the MVP of the NBA. So it's not far-fetched that you would be losing to somebody who was voted the best player in the NBA. The way they started that fourth quarter was amazing. Like, it was nothing short of amazing. Just watching, like, I seen LeBron in a different light. Like, I always been critical of LeBron, especially after he did the trade, you know, to Miami. And I never liked that move. You know, just to me, it was like, yo, you the best player in the world. Why would you go join other great players to play with them instead of just beating them, especially after they just won a championship? Like, I never liked that move. So I'm not going to act like I did. And I've always been critical of his killer instinct and his warrior mentality ever since then. But as of late, you know, he's grown on me with the warrior. But I think that game solidified it for me. Like, just watching how he put the U.S. on his back. Like, literally, he put that team on his back not by himself, because everybody contributed in the game. Steph hit not like he was just unconscious, but the level of energy, he was guarding Jokic. He was playing the point guard. He was guarding the center. He was getting rebounds. He got blocks. His intensity just went somewhere else. And people on the USA team had to match that. And the other team couldn't match it. So he solidified this level of greatness of this warrior spirit for me in that game. They came back from that deficit to come back and win that game. And it was just like, it was one for the ages. But then the championship game, watching Steph Curry shoot threes that I couldn't even believe 5 in a row. Like, it just didn't make no sense. It didn't matter what defense they played on him. They tried to deny him the ball. He did whatever he wanted. And the level of ease and comfort in which he shoots three-pointer is just phenomenal to me. It is phenomenal. The skill level that he had in shooting that basketball was just, it was like, okay, I don't think we're ever gonna have a generational talent like that again. I can't see it. Like somebody would have to then be perfect and never miss a shot and to be able to shoot better than Steph Curry. Like I just can't really see somebody being able to shoot better than him. I don't. And if that day comes, I'm willing to say I made a mistake, but I just don't see it. I really don't see that happening. So shout out to the USA for winning the gold. They had the most gold medals and they had the most medals altogether. So I think it was 120 something medals altogether. And I think they had like 40 something gold medals. So shout out to them for that. And that pretty much sums up what my week was like, man. Just relaxed, and just getting prepared for summer's almost over. I do my annual picnic in the Bronx, Merriam Day. If you know about it, it's one of those. We have bouncy houses, face paint for the kids. We give away book bags, food, basketball, music. It's just a vibe, man. So if you're in the Bronx, August 25th, Sunday, August 25th, pull up to Merriam Day, get you some glizzies, get you some hamburgers and glizzies. We on deck, man. Bring the kids. It's a fun day. We're gonna have a good time. So my music segment, which I have a music segment this week, y'all. This one guy, his name is Marcus Clay. He's a dope young rapper. He's actually really dope. I discovered him a couple of years ago. I was just on Instagram. Somebody had tagged me and something he did. So I've been watching him. And he has this song dedicated to Sonya Massey called Say Her Name. And it's a dope song. It's talking about what happened to us, talking about, in general, what we deal with, what Black people deal with in America. So look it up. It's called Say Her Name by Marcus K. You can find Marcus Clay. You can find him on Instagram. It's MarcusClae. Marcus Clay, man. The name of the song is Say Her Name for Sonya Massey. It's a really dope song. Y'all should listen to it. So now, what we're going to do, we're going to bring on our guests, man. We're going to have a very compelling discussion about the election. We're going to have some people who are pro this, anti that. We're going to have some people that support Trump. We're going to have some people that don't support Trump. We're going to have some people that support Kamala. And we want to get to what the issues are. What are Black men's issues? Why they don't like candidates? Why they do like candidates? What's at stake in this? It's going to be a compelling discussion. It's going to be some debating. So stay tuned. What's going on, family? So today we're going to have a discussion. These are brothers who I've known, friends, family, all of the above, and they're Black men, as you can see. And, there is a lot of talk about Black men in this election and what they want, what they don't want. Online, there's been these feuds between people who want Kamala, people who don't want Kamala, people who are for Trump, people who don't want Trump. And I've been seeing it. I've been engaged in a lot of these dialogues. So I wanted to take time out to bring this to TMI and have a discussion with Black men, and get the different perspectives, different views. So today we have on this panel my brother Angelo Pinto, who is one of the co-founders of Until Freedom, and he is a lawyer. We also have the esteemed Jeff Johnson, who does everything. You know what he does. And we have my brother James Bond, who is the founder of Daddish, an organization about fathers and for fatherhood. He also does a lot of management within the music industry, and he's just a down-to-earth brother of mine. And we also have another one, a good friend of mine's, the brother Gotham from Harlem. You see, he got Harlem, New York on his shirt. And exactly. We're just going to open up this conversation. And, like I said, it's been a lot of talk online and so many different views. I think for me, what troubles me is not who someone votes for, right? or what your preference is. It's why, right? And then it's the way that you go about saying that you don't want to vote for someone, right? Because there's this thing that I've seen. You know, I posted my brother Ross Barack saying that he said that a man said he would rather shoot himself in the head before he voted for Kamala Harris. And he said, but he didn't have that energy for Trump. But he felt the need to express this level of disdain for this woman. And that's the thing that confuses me, because it's people who've never had any political views prior to this. Like, I have never heard them saying anything. They just been quiet. But as soon as this woman, you know, was announcing that she was running for president, there was so much negative backlash talking about her this. She's not black. She didn't do this. She don't deserve this. She's actually, to me, and on paper, she's probably the most qualified presidential candidate that we've had. Like when you look at all her qualifications, I don't think there's been a candidate that's more qualified than her. So this backlash just disturbed me. So I wanted to have this conversation with you brothers and just get your perspective on what do you think that backlash comes from, and do you think it's warranted or do you not think it's warranted? Angelo, what do you think?
I mean, I think some of what we're seeing right now is things that we saw with the Obama presidency. I think when you have a black person who is potentially going to secure the highest office in the country, they're going to be met with racism. Black folks are met with racism in this country, and they're not trying to accomplish a feat like that. Just doing everyday activities. Black folks are encountering police violence and a number of other issues. But I think when you look at what's happening with her, it's similar to what happened with President Obama. He experienced a tremendous amount of racism because he was running for president. His family experienced a tremendous amount of racism. And I think it's no different for her. I think the additional piece is that she's also a woman. So I think there's also a gendered kind of disrespect that she's experiencing as well. For me, if to your point, if you disagree with her, if you don't think she's the appropriate candidate, I think that's a different conversation. But because of the history of racism in America and the history of gender depression in America, she's experiencing a kind of vitriol and hate that many candidates, white candidates, never have to experience. Now, I think the other piece is that black folks shouldn't contribute to that. We already know that white folks and other folks are going to participate in that kind of activity, which is not only going to have an impact for her, but it's going to have an impact for the black community at large. And I think black folks shouldn't participate in that. If we want to have heated debate and discussion, which we should, about the political merit of her and the political merit of other candidates, we should engage in that dialogue. But I think there's a way to do so without disrespecting her and ultimately disrespecting black folks, but not just black folks. I think there's a kind of disrespect for black folks who are trying to attain political position, which is also tremendously problematic because it's not just her, but there's other black folks who are aspiring. And people often talk about the presidency of the United States, but we don't have many black governors either. Right. So there's still a lot of political positions in the United States of America that black folks are trying to break into or enter into, I should say. And when we engage or participate in a race-based discussion about them, I think some of that sets us back. And we certainly shouldn't participate in any of the race-based or gendered-based disrespect towards her. Now, I have a different perspective around where she lands politically. But I think before we could even get into that, I think we need to be able to say we shouldn't participate in the disrespect.
James, what do you think?
I mean, I agree with Angelo, just to piggyback off what he said. I mean, I think a lot of it comes from her being a woman, right? I've spoken to men and engaged with them, and they've told me, listen, a woman is not supposed to lead. I spoke with guys who a churchgoers avidly, and they say in the Bible, it says the woman is not supposed to lead. So everybody has their perspective on it from that point of view. But, just in large, as Angela already stated, she's a black woman. We never ask these questions about the counterparts, where they come from, what are their nationalities. It's just based on the politics and the policies that they're trying to put in place. So, you know, my outlook is that as a Black woman, because I see her as that, I'm looking forward to seeing and hearing her policies more. But thus far, I'm standing on that side of the fence, and I don't consider myself Republican or Democrat, but I go with the pros and the cons of, you know, what these people bring to the table. That's what I look at.
Okay, Gotham, what do you think?
First, I'm not even into the political thing to say like I've been following the politics of what's been going on. My standpoint is just really just on morals and standards of how she's moving in this race. Is like, you know, they always say your first impression is your best impression. So since she stepped out, it's just been like she's trying to sell something to us. And it's like, as me being around many different Black people who have different upbringings, it seems like she's leaning more towards the nigga shit, like to bring us in. And to me, I always feel like that insult my intelligence. When you move like that, you make me feel like this is what you think about your culture. Like we can't comprehend with you on a higher level, so you dumb yourself down to come down to the lower masses of people to be like, for instance, people ask about like with the Tupac shit, is like, how does that have anything to do with politics? It really don't. It have something to do with character. Your character is everything. So me knowing Black people that don't listen to rap at all. And if you genuine about it, if you get asked that question, it should be, listen, I don't listen to that. I don't listen to rap music. I prefer jazz. I prefer rock and roll. But it's like everything that they asking her, she's leading more to the nigga shit. The bringing Megan Thee Stallion, it's just repetitively like she just keep doing it. So it makes you be like, yo, what is you really hiding? So even with the race thing, we as people is wasn't attacking her to say, oh, she's not Black. The reason why them statements have came is because he repeatedly, from being an attorney general to being a district attorney, when she got sworn in, she's sworn in as Indian. So now when you fast forward and it comes to you being a VP, you swear in as African American. So people will say, okay, what's wrong with that? Okay, my thing is this. Me, I'm half Dominican. So all my life, I identify as African American. So now my Dominican side, say if I walk into, we all been in prison, you walk into prison and then you see the Dominicans is running the show. And then I just decide to say, yo, I'm Dominican. The Dominican gonna be like, no, bite. No, bite. You can't do that. You understand what I'm saying? That's no bueno.
I hear what you're saying. I just think for me, I don't ever remember a time when she didn't acknowledge being Black.
I'm not saying that.
No, but I'm
What
just
I'm
trying
saying
to say,
is,
but that's what you would say. If I was always Dominican, right? If I was Dominican and Black and I hung with Dominicans and Blacks because I was Dominican and Black, when I go to the jail and I see my Dominican mans, I'm gonna hang with my Dominican mans. I'm gonna hang with my Black mans. So nigga ain't gonna say you switching up if you've always been Dominican and Black.
but that's my thing. If I
of
always identify as African American, that's gonna come out as I speak to you and you get to know me. I'm gonna say, yo, I'm mixed with Dominican, but I'm always gonna stand. So it's just like in a Fed. When you come in, it's like you Black. If you the Dominicans and all that got their own shit going. So it's either gonna be you gonna choose this side of your culture and go over there, or you gonna choose the culture that you've been saying you African American and stand over here. You can't use it when it's beneficial to you to say, yo, I'm okay, I'm this now, and then you understand what I'm saying? So
I don't really understand what you're saying because I know mixed people who have different ethnicity and come from different cultural aspects.
Yeah, but some people
they
don't
embrace
claim
both of those aspects.
Mysonne, I think the bigger issue here is Kamala has always claimed to be Black.
Right.
So it's not as if she never ignored either side. I mean, I was a national youth director at NAACP back in 2000 through 2003. And I wrote a check for her when she was running for DA in San Francisco. And I fucked with her because she everything she said to me and everything I saw was she was moving as a Black woman. She was engaging with Black people. She embraced her Indian heritage, but she was raised as a Black woman. She didn't choose Howard because she was trying to find Blackness. She chose Howard because she wanted to lean into it. She didn't become an AKA because she was trying to find Blackness. And we can argue, you know, some of the elitism that exists within our community as it relates to HBCUs and Greek letter organizations. But we still know that they are Black. And so I just think we gotta be real careful about some of the talking points from the other side that we listen to or don't dive into, because she never disengaged from her Blackness. She leaned into her Blackness way more than she did anything else.
Of course not. I don't think she denied it. She never denied it. But it's like, if you ask anybody who's mixed, right, and they stand on they African American, when you go fill out anything, job applications and anything, you're gonna put what you dominantly is. I'm African American, then I'm this. I'm not gonna say on a job application I'm Dominican and then go to another.
What I'm asking is, where did she do that? Where did she?
She got sworn in. She got sworn in as an Indian, the first Indian attorney general and the first Indian
Yeah, she also got sworn in as the first Black. I mean, there was never when she was elected attorney general, she was the first Black attorney general, and those were the things that were said about her, and those were you don't have to check a box when you get sworn in saying, which one of these do I choose?
Okay, so why did it switch up now? Why did it switch from Indian to now African American?
What I'm saying is it never switched up. When she got elected as attorney general, she was named the first Black female, the first Indian female attorney general. It wasn't one or the other. So in some cases, it was like, how did certain media outlets run with it? And in some cases, how did certain communities run with it? The Asian community was like, we got ours. The Black community was like, we got ours. But she never was like, nah, Black people, I'm Indian right now. Or nah, Indian people, I'm Black right now. She never did that. And so, you know, a lot of times we got to be careful. I think one of the biggest challenges about Kamala is most people don't follow politics, period.
Right.
Then most people only follow politics that affect where they are. So it was a whole lot of people didn't know who the hell Kamala was until she became a senator. And then a lot of people didn't know who she was until she ran for president of the United States. So the challenge was she didn't do that well when she ran for president. And then when they said, we want her to be the vice presidential nominee, they were like, listen, don't say nothing. Don't say nothing about you. Don't tell your story. We just need you to show up, get Black women to turn out because they're the most reliable demographic in electoral politics.
Exactly.
We need to beat Trump. So she was never really, I mean, if you talk to any insiders, folks like Bakari Sellers and others were like, yo, we need Kamala to be able to tell her story, because Black people and Black men in particular was like, all she did was lock up a bunch of niggas and I don't support her. And folks were trying to get her to be able to tell her story, but she never really told her story 4 years ago. So I think the biggest challenge now, Mysonne, is, and I think one of my biggest concerns is there are folks who are either Democrats or progressives that are trying to beat up everybody that's not a Black Democrat or progressive, telling them that they need to fall in line for Kamala. Anytime you tell somebody to fall in line, there needs to be some level of membership. And if you're not a Democrat or you're not a progressive, then who the hell are you to tell me to fall in line for anything? My biggest concern, and it's primarily around Black men, is I'm not talking about the Black men that hate Black women. I'm not talking about the Black men that don't support Black women. I'm talking about the Black men that got questions. And Black men should be able to be allowed to have questions about who she is, about her record, about how she feels about Black men, in many cases, because she never told that story. I don't have nothing wrong with brothers like, yo, I got some questions. I got some legitimate questions. And I see brothers getting their ass beat or getting shamed or getting attacked in social, not because they like fuck her, or not because they like I don't like women, or not because a woman's not supposed to lead, but because they like, yo, I got some questions, and all I want is my questions answered. And
my
we got to be
standpoint.
real careful about not alienating brothers in particular in our community, not who are against women, not who don't like women, but those who are just like, yo, I'm not a Democrat. I don't ride with none of these people. I don't trust none of these people. And so if you want me to say, yeah, I want to vote for her, then I need to have some questions answered, and I need her to earn my vote. And in closing, it's like, yo, I think Kamala wants to earn that vote. I don't think she's sitting around saying, force these Negroes to vote for me, instead of let me earn their vote. Let me introduce them to who I am. Let me stand on my record. Because most of the people that have been talking about her record have been lying. And so if we can get to that piece and stop demonizing Black men who have questions, and then hold accountable to brothers that are attacking women or not standing with women. But the vast majority of brothers I know is like, yo, I don't trust none of them. I don't trust no Democrats. I don't trust no Republicans. I don't trust Black politicians. I don't trust white politicians. I don't trust no politician. So if you want me to turn out, especially because you got me to ride on hope and change with Obama, and I ain't feel like I got nothing. So don't try to get me on this making history shit again. Yeah. Talk to me like I'm an adult, and like, as a Black man, I got to take care of a family. I got to earn a living. I got to try to keep as much money as I can. I got to be able to stay out of jail. I got to try to find a way to thrive. I got to deal with the fact that we got the lowest life expectancy of any demographic in America, and we dying of preventive stuff, and I can't get health insurance. Like, those are real things. And so I should have questions, and we should honor that. And as opposed to beating up brothers that are trying to ask questions before they make a decision, we should have, I think Mysonne, you might have said, or I think Angelo, you may have said, like, let's have a meaningful conversation about some of this stuff. We don't have to yell at each other and shout at each other, even if we disagree. Let's speak to each other, especially men. Let's speak to each other like men. And we can respectfully disagree, but I ain't kicking nobody out the camp because of how they feel. If they showing me they riding with who we are in their daily lives.
Right.
And I respect that. And I think for me, right, that's why I wanted to do this segment, is because, you know, like I said, I don't have a problem with whoever someone wants to vote for. It's just been mind-boggling to me to see the level of Black men, like you said, people have questions. And if you asking questions, but it's Black men that I've never seen involved in a political standpoint. Like Gotham said, like, he's never been involved in the political politics. But in the last 3 weeks, he's posted about 20 things, and 19 of them wasn't even correct about what they saying about Kamala. And we've had conversations either in his comments or, you know, in our DMs. And it's like, where did this level of energy come from, especially in Black men, that they this angry, that they just, oh, you just going with her, so what about this and what about this? What made them get involved in this political conversation with this level?
Keep being told they ain't shit. Black men keep being told they ain't shit if they ain't right. And you know it's the truth. Like, I'm having conversations with women who I respect, who I trust, whose leadership I follow, who I'm hearing them tell Black men they ain't shit because they ain't falling in line and supporting her. That's not the way we got to roll. And so I've been able to have conversations with sisters where I'm like, yo, that brother wasn't even saying he don't like her. That brother wasn't even saying he hate women leadership. I know women this brother follows. But if he raising his hand like, yo, I need to know about the prosecutor shit, that's not the time to say, nigga, what's wrong with you? You just need to support the Black woman. Like, no, I got Black women I'm supporting, and they mothers of Black kids. And I got to know what kind of person is she if I want to support her because of the Black women I support. And and so I think so many brothers are mad, my son, and I'm not saying all of them. Don't get it twisted. I think it's some we need to hold accountable. But the vast majority of brothers I know are angry because it's like, you ain't never asked me what I want. You never asked me why I vote. You never asked me what I care about. You don't ever ask me what drives me. You telling me who I should be because I'm a Black man. And that is problematic on so many levels.
And I think that's where we fail politically. That's the conversation I've been having with a lot of folks too. It's like, of course, we know Black women are a super force when it comes to the democratic process, particularly for Democrats. Black men aren't that far behind. But I think oftentimes in the conversation, Black men don't have the same kind of seat at the table. And as a result, when you talk, you're not allowed to engage in a discourse in the same way. For me, that hurts us politically because as a community, when we're asking the questions, when we're trying to get aligned or more aligned, just get educated, informed, those conversations are cut short. Now, I'll say this. I do think Black folks have been let down politically. I think even to the point you made, Jeff, around the Obama administration, we all were, I think, behind making history. And in many ways, we didn't get the substantive results that we wanted to. And I think Black candidates now are forced to contend with that reality, right? Certainly, we might want to make history in some regard. There's a symbolic piece here that's important. But substantively, we want to know what you're going to do, right? And not just your track record, but what do you plan to do moving forward that speaks to the needs, the issues that we have? And for me, and it's not just her, I feel like every candidate is failing in that regard and putting forth specifically what they plan and intend to do on behalf of Black folks. But I think the other piece for Black folks who are with her the way they are, they should be engaging and we should be engaging in the conversation with the rest of the community about who she is and what she plans on doing. But to your earlier point, Jeff, I don't think she's set that out enough. I think there's still much to be desired around what she intends to really do politically. And I hope to see that from her in the coming days, weeks, and months ahead.
And I agree with you, right? But I don't know what is Trump supposed to be doing, because I don't hear these questions from nobody.
Okay, can I lift
nobody?
Mike?
I never
this
hear
is my
somebody
thing,
say,
right?
what is Trump? They say it's policies, and I'm like, what is Trump's policy that he has that is appealing to y'all? Like, what is he saying and doing? What is his appeal to Black men? The Black men that did it with Trump, I want to know. Tell me, what do you think that his appeal is to them? To me, I don't even.
Let me answer you, Mike.
I'm gonna let you answer, right? Because to me, right, what I seen as man, like, because I was listening to the news and it was like, well, he presents this level of manhood and strength. He don't remind me of nothing that I seen as a man growing up, right? My father had levels of integrity. He had honor. He moved a certain way. He had discipline. You know, he had self-control. He didn't just lash out and yell whenever he was, like, nothing about him appeals to what I call manhood. So I'm trying to figure out, what is his appeal to Black men? What do y'all think it is that they're gravitating to? If they're not just Kamala, what is it that they're gravitating to in Trump?
Me personally, this is my thing. It's not about what's gravitating people to Trump. My thing is this: for the last 8 years, or okay, 2020 they got him out, right? And then when he was in for 4 years, right? All you heard about is how much of a fuck up Trump is, how much people don't like him, how much they're not voting for him. So my thing is this, my people, I have a 92-year-old grandmother. I got aunts and all of that shit that I know they don't know who Kamala is. So they already expressed the hate or dislike for Trump. And everybody damn near on my page, they voiced the dislike for Trump. So I'll keep questioning them to say, who puts all of their energy into a person that they not voting for? Why are y'all not putting this energy into this lady to find out who this lady is? You understand what I'm saying? You keep, every time when somebody voice an opinion or asks about Kamala, they say Trump. They answer with Trump name. It's like, yo, okay, we already know Trump is not, you feel he's not going to do whatever you. So it's just like going to a dealership with a broken car and you're not going to ask the dealership to tell you what's wrong with the car that you're bringing in. You're going to start asking questions about the new car that you're about to purchase. So if you're about to put the world in this lady's hands, why is nobody have no concern? And that's what I asked you, brother. You've been in the situations that we've been in. You was wrongfully convicted by a DA. So just off the standpoint, I never understood why you just never like had a little bit rejection to say, Who is this lady? So now maybe the things that I might have posted about her might have been exaggerated, but there was truth in it was truth in these posts that dudes had got railroaded under her, and she just laughed it off or did whatever she did. So me being a person that sat across from DAs that I know is wicked and that abuse their power, and now she's running around and it's like, okay, we're not gonna condemn you for being a district attorney, because if motherfuckers do something to go to jail, that's where the fuck they belong at, in jail. But we also know that there are people who have that seat that abuse it. You understand what I'm saying? So when I talk to you, it's like, damn, Mike, you sat and did time behind that shit. So automatically, if you hear these stories, yeah, they might not be true, but it's like, yo, let me see who the fuck this lady really is before I start backing her. You understand what I'm saying? And it's a lot of other shit with her that you be like, so the things that I post is, I don't have no hatred for that lady. I would love to see a black woman be president, but I still have, like I said, I got a 92-year-old grandmother and aunts and all that shit. And I asked them, why you want to vote for her? I don't like Trump.
Right.
I don't like
Let me
Trump.
say this though. Let me chime in real quick. The thing is, Trump already has shown who he is. He
Right.
already disclosed what he planned to do, right? And people are looking for somebody to go against him, somebody to champion them. So when you hear that this lady is now running, right, you want to do your own homework to find out, are these things true? Or I'm hearing this about, let me do my own research. Then when you talk to the masses, you got to tell them what you researched, because they might not take their time to do the research. So you can't magnify what you hear on the fake news channels, the people who just, they saying anything right now. So as someone who has a voice and a platform, you gotta do the right thing by sharing what you research, because people not gonna do the work. And that's
But
how
that's what I tried to do, bro. And it's like when you dealing with, as a culture of black people, we are super vulnerable when it comes to shit that we've been through in this our culture. So we are very sensitive when it comes to that shit. You understand what I'm saying? When people see a black person, automatically it's Wakanda forever. It's not Wakanda forever, because every black person that you put in a situation is not with us. You understand what I'm saying? So if I do post something and say, oh, he convicted such and such and such with weed, and that shit be false, but then you dig and see a dude who was convicted for 50 years, wrongfully convicted, and he came and showed up and laughed at his trial, it's some truth to what they saying. You understand what I'm saying? So it's not like, yo, just throw dirt on her. But like you said, my grandmother's not going to do no research.
right.
My
So
aunts
you got to
they
research
just
for
want
her.
Trump to fuck up out of there.
Right. Because he showed us his hand already.
I think Donald Trump, part of what's happening in this moment is that Donald Trump has showed his hand. And I think there's ways in which, if it's a conversation of character, he ain't got none. So I think for most folks, when they just put that up against what she represents, not even so much of her track record as a DA, but being an educated woman, going to a HBCU, just based on how she presents, there's a way in which people are saying, which I think is a part of the electoral process, they would rather have someone like her represent them than someone like Donald Trump. And I think even from a character perspective, people would make that decision. I do believe, I'm a type of person, I've done a lot of criminal justice reform. I'm generally a person who's going to have a challenge with a DA. That's just me personally, because of the ways in which I know they are integral in how mass incarceration operates, right? So for me, a DA is someone who I'm generally going to say, hold on, wait, I want to see your track record. I want to know what you did and why you did it before I make a decision and align myself with you. And I would say there are things in her track record that I have big questions about and that I don't feel good about, right? However, I think she has the opportunity in this moment to talk about what she'll do differently as the commander in chief of this country. Mass incarceration still is a huge issue in the United States of America. And I think she needs to put forth an agenda, particularly around criminal justice reform, that shows some very progressive reforms. right? Because even though mass incarceration has been a big ticket item, people have been talking about it for decades, and there's been some progress made. I think we're still far behind. But
You
a person who has an experience as a DA has seen some of the pitfalls of the system. I would like to see a very progressive agenda from her, speaking to those points, and I certainly haven't seen that yet. So I'll say that.
did you yo, did you see the case? Did you just see the case where the kid, the autistic kid, he just got sentenced to 5 years for assaulting the teacher? So my thing is like that was a perfect analogy for me, because you have somebody that's autistic, right? And he lashes out, and I guess he assaulted his teacher. They sentenced this kid to 5 years. Now they say, oh, it's not the district attorney, it's the judge. Listen, brother, I sat in court. The district attorney is the one who proposed the time to the judge, and then the judge make their decision. So the sentence of autistic kid.
But wait. Hold on 1 second, because I don't want to miss the question you asked. Because I think there's two things here. One is, why are certain men, Black men, resonating with Trump? And I think, one, we got to recognize that she just became the candidate like 5 minutes ago. So most of these cats that was choosing Trump over Biden,
right?
Not necessarily Trump over Kamala, and that was connected to me to a couple of things. One, we gotta forget that, as nuts as I believe Trump is, Trump did a lot around criminal justice reform. And the Congress probably did more around criminal justice reform under this nuts Congress, 2 terms ago, than they did under any previously. So and we got to remember why, though, right? Like, you can't make trillions of dollars on marijuana when niggas still going to jail for marijuana. So you got to start doing reform in order to justify the money you about to make. So some of this is not about doing goodwill. Some of this is about, like, we didn't end slavery because there was a moral conundrum about whether there's slaves or not. We ended slavery because of the Industrial Revolution, and the North didn't need slaves anymore. They needed factories. And they needed people to work in those factories, and the South didn't have those. That was what the war was about. It wasn't about Abraham Lincoln loving Black people and having some moral awakening about the humanity of Black people. Similarly, you're not having legislators around the country saying, I think we should decriminalize marijuana because we all of a sudden fell in love with humanity and felt bad about the war on drugs. Now, there were champions of that. But a lot of these conservative state legislatures were like, yo, we got to pass these laws because I got boys that I need to make money off of legal cannabis. And we can't do that if we keep locking people up for cannabis. So that's number one. And Negroes heard that. And brothers saw Kim Kardashian with President Trump freeing people, getting him to pardon people. And those are powerful images for people who don't fully understand the system. The second thing is, there is an unbelievable narrative that money they got during COVID came from Donald Trump.
Oh, that's a fact.
And
stimulus.
Can't tell them Negroes that he didn't give, Negroes believe that he got in ice cream trucks and went house to house and started giving out ice cream and checks. And so they was like, this dude gave me a check, he good with me, I ain't never got no check from Biden, right? Then you have Republican myths, because any of us who have been around artists, I remember being on a set of Rap City and Negroes telling me they was voting for Bush because Republicans allow them to keep more of their mony. I don't trust Republicans, I don't trust Democrats, but Republicans let me keep more of my money. Now there are several levels of myth to that, right? But because of Republicans' fiscal policy versus Democrats' fiscal policy, there is a belief that as a Republican, Republicans will help me, give me lower taxes and keep more of my money. Now, we can argue the myth, but that is what a whole lot of brothers respond to. And last but not least, Black people are more conservative than we lit on. So like like I know that there is a very loud set of Black progressives that are in social media, but the vast majority of Black people are not socially progressive. They are moderates to conservative. There's still a huge connection to the Black church. There's still a huge connection to traditional morals and values. And while you see a shift in that generationally, Black men over the age of 40 in particular, and especially over 50 and 60 are conservative as hell. And they may have some shifting beliefs, but by and large, I do not mean they are right-wing ideologue nutbags. I am saying that they are primarily socially conservative. And we forget that sometimes. And so, especially for those of us that live on the coast, and are surrounded by progressive people. I grew up in Cleveland. So when you start talking about the Midwest and the South, it ain't a bunch of bastions of progressivism amongst Black circles of Black men in those in Cleveland, Columbus, Cincinnati, Youngstown, in North Carolina, and you know what I'm saying? So I think when you ask why have there been Black men that have shifted to Trump, it's because they have never trusted either party. They don't believe that he's a politician. They believe he's a gangster. And there are a lot of Black men that like gangsters. And they believe in some myths about money they got and the fact that he freed people. So there's a huge, every brother that is saying I'm riding with Trump is not riding with Trump for the same reason. But when you look at the data, these are things that we are hearing Black men say. And so I believe what I hear Black men say, not what somebody else told me about why Black men are choosing him.
I want to know for Mike. Can I ask Mike something real quick? Why is it, right? Okay. They painted this boogeyman picture about Trump, right? Through the last campaign, right? Y'all got him out. Y'all got him out. So when I asked my grandmother and I'm like, y'all went so hard to paint Trump to be the boogeyman. Y'all got him out. Then what did y'all get out of these 4 years from Biden? And everybody's mute. They can't say nothing. So now they painting another picture of the boogeyman to say, yo, this, whatever. Okay. Now, y'all, nobody, they say the primaries, okay. She got 1%, 1.3 million was raised, and 8% in California, in her own state, nobody fucked with her. They say, oh, she didn't have a chance, so she joined Biden. With her joining Biden, you know, they play on our skin color. Soon as she jumped on board, 95% of the Blacks voted for Biden, which they knew they was going to do. Y'all got him in the office, then what? So now y'all trying to sell us the same shit again with her in the forefront? Like, and she's selling this pitch, oh, I'm going to change this my first day in. Miss, you a vice president right now. So this formula that you saying you got that's going to work the first day you get in, why haven't you put this in Biden ear? Why, what? The formula you saying, yo, and then you turn around and say, yo, we not going to tax tips from the workers and all that, and then turn around and pass the shit where they taxing them. So it's like everything you saying, everything she's saying just turned out to be false. So that's why a person like me who could think past go is asking these questions.
But does that mean you're going to vote for Trump, though?
No,
like,
I'm not voting.
Okay.
Hell no, I'm not voting for Trump. But this is my thing. That's why I kept saying, if my thing is this, if my people already is saying Trump is out of, I'm not voting for him. So I keep asking, okay, if you know you're not voting for this man, why do you keep paying so much attention of this? You need to take this attention and start digging into this lady life to find out who you putting in the seat, who's going to run the world.
Gotham, let me share a couple things with you, right? Because I'll be honest with you. Somebody asked when we did the Black Men's Call, not the last one, but the one before, I'm not excited about Kamala. I'm committed to Kamala. I don't get excited about politicians unless I know them. I was the chair of Wes Moore's PAC as he became the third elected Black governor in America. I was excited about Wes because I know him, because he's my friend, because I can speak for his character, because I know what he does behind the scenes. I don't get excited about politicians I don't know. I know that somebody gonna get elected and they're gonna spend money, they're gonna pass laws, and they're gonna appoint judges. So I ain't got to get excited to vote. I just know I just want to vote for whoever I think is going to kill my people less. Not even who going to help them more. Who going to kill
So
them
you with a lesser evil.
Yes. And but I also have to acknowledge when
That's
I
how
see
they box you in.
no.
No, that's just the
No,
reality.
it's this, right? If there's a horse race, I can't bet on the horse that ain't running. I can only bet on the horse that's running. So somebody is going
No,
to
you can say I'm not betting on this race.
But
it
here's
doesn't
but here's
matter.
where Gotham, here's why that's a flaw for me. Somebody's going to win, and they're gonna pass laws, they're gonna spend money, and they're gonna appoint judges. And so I need to vote because I can't afford for the person that's gonna appoint more the wrong judges, that's gonna spend money the wrong way, that is gonna pass policies that are gonna hurt my people.
Right.
So it's not about me getting boxed into doing something I don't want to do. I vote because they're going to pass laws, they're going to spend money, and they're going to appoint judges. And I want to have a say in even the person I don't like that's going to do it versus
Right.
have no say in the person that's going to be worse for my family.
But
But I want to be really clear about something. Like there was real stuff that the Biden administration did. And I don't think they did. I can't name a presidential administration that did enough for Black people. But the other thing is, I look for mayors to do more for Black people because a mayor is going to spend more money in their term towards a city that Black people live in than a president is going to have the ability to get policy passed that's going to impact the city where Black people live in. I'm looking at governors. I'm looking at who spends money in the cities where my people live in more than anybody else, and it's mayors and governors. But like when you think about how many of y'all know that you got family members that got a negative account because of overdraft fees and charges.
I do.
The
Yeah.
Biden administration the Biden administration limited the number of junk fees and overdraft charges that banks can charge. I don't even want to deal with the money they gave to HBCUs because I think that's a whole nother thing that we could talk about.
Trump did too.
But I do recognize that there were a ton of Black farmers who have had a better life because we started shifting how the FDA was able to limit crop development, how Black farmers were able to have access to money, and who Black farmers could sue. There are things that people don't really know because one, they're small things that there's not going to be a huge press release for, and two, the Biden administration did a horrible job of comms. Like they just did a horrible job of talking about what they did. So I don't think this is Kamala coming out of nowhere being like, yo, we didn't get nothing done, and now I'm trying to sell y'all on some stuff. It was, we didn't do a great job of talking about the things we did, and now we got to talk about them in a way that we didn't.
But I think there's things that Black folks were specifically hoping that the Biden administration did that they didn't. Like I think the Biden administration, George Floyd Justice and Policing Act, I think broader criminal justice reform, people having conversations about reparations, even the John Lewis. There's a few issues or many issues that I think.
Can you break down your opinion though on how much of that was the Biden administration didn't champion it versus Congress didn't pass it?
Didn't pass.
Well, I certainly understand that, but I think it's a little bit of both. And I think that's always my point of contention around the issue when people say, Biden doesn't have any control over that. But for me, Biden is not a champion. And I think even VP Harris wasn't a champion. And for me, if you fail and are unable to deliver on those issues, but I saw you out front on those issues, I could respect that. All I could say is job well done. You tried your best. We have to create another strategy. But if we don't get what we want and you're not championing them, though these issues, that's a problem. So for me, one of the things I want to see from her in this moment is be clear about what you're going to prioritize for Black folks. I want to know those things up front, so I know we have a fighting chance that some of those things will happen. And I think
whose job do you think that is though? Because if I'm gonna be straight up honest, I have watched cycle after cycle after cycle after cycle where it wasn't no Project 2025 for Black people. It wasn't the NAACP and the Urban League and the Lynx and the Divine Nine all got together and developed Black People 2020 whatever and said these are the issues that we want and here's the policies that we demand I really want to do a campaign this season like my vote ain't free. And here's what you got to do to get my vote. If you don't say you champion this, and this, then you ain't got enough for my vote.
And that's you mentioned being committed and not excited, right? Which I think is an important distinction. And I also get the idea that sometimes you can't wait for excitement because you got to make serious decisions in the moment. I get that. But to your point and what you're articulating now, I think we lose an opportunity when we commit too soon. I think it's just like if you're in a relationship with a woman and you get married after date one, brother, some things may not work out for you down the line. And I think we find ourselves in those moments often where we commit a little too soon. Not that we shouldn't commit, but like you said, she just got this 5 minutes ago. And we committed 4 minutes ago.
All the way, full throttle.
And for me, and that's why, Brother Gotham, I really understand your perspective on that, is like, how do we move differently in this political moment so that we get different outcomes? We understand Trump is what he is, but we have this particular candidate who people are very enthusiastic about. And I would say a lot of Black folks are excited about her. I think some of us are a little bit more sophisticated politically, or, we've had issues with the political process. So we committed and we're not excited. But I would love to see the moment where Black folks could be committed and excited at the same time. And that's what I'm hoping. That's what I'm hoping we get in this moment. Now, let me just say this last piece. I think that can happen in this moment. And to your point, Brother Jeff, if Black folks who are talking and having these conversations politically say, these are the things that we want to prioritize. We know we may get behind this candidate, but man, we know we need you to get behind these issues as well. And then you're going to get the full support of us, committed and excited at the same time. I feel like that is the responsibility of politically minded Black folks, because I don't know if the Democratic Party is going to do that. I don't know who's going to do that.
Gotham was about to say something, though. I heard him say it. I really want him to get it.
I was saying they more, a lot of this always been my thing. They more committed to the history of having a first Black woman president,
for sure, that
they don't want to hear shit. Because they like, yo, especially Black women, and it's like, yo, my grandmother is damn near ready to not let me in the house no more behind me saying what I say about this lady. Like, she's like, how dare you? But I still have to understand her perspective, because her dislike for Trump, he went through slavery and all of that shit. Not actually her, but they come from that time. She's 92 years old. So her standpoint is, look, fuck him. We need this Black lady in. And I'm like, Grandma, that's not enough to put this lady in the office. You have to figure out.
Okay, so I'm gonna say something.
Can you do me a favor though, bro? Can you do me a favor though? Because I think a lot of sisters would hear you more if you didn't keep calling her that lady.
What's my fault? Because I get a lot of flack about that too. They like, yo, you be disrespecting her. So Kamala, my fault. I'm sorry.
So this is what I would like to say. We're gonna go. I want to ask a question about identity politics, right? So we got like 10 more minutes. Can I get 10 more minutes of this conversation? So I got 10 minutes. Listen, I'm with your grandmother, right? The reality situation is, we can be politically savvy. We can have all of these conversations. I think those conversations should have happened. I think when Black men and Black women got on those calls and they was raising money, when they was raising money, there should have been an agenda that came with raising money. I think that's what comes with when you sit down. Okay, we want her to be here. We're gonna have her on this call. Listen, this is what we expect. These certain things. This is our agenda. We supporting you. Look, we showing you. We raising these millions of dollars. We putting our money where our mouth is. But we do have a Black agenda. And that this is what we've all agreed we should be doing. Because that was the moment to do it right then, right? Sure. In front of the world, you have 50,000, all these people on the call. Like, there should have been people who had spearheaded an agenda, not just raising money. But I also say to myself, we have had 46 presidents. 45 of them have been white men. I'm voting for a black woman. I'm telling you that. I'm unapologetic about it. I'm not saying it, and I'm trying to tell you, I understand. I don't believe there's nothing that she can do that's worse than what Donald Trump has already done. The Supreme Court justices he already put back that roll back things that you don't even realize they roll back. Most of the average person doesn't realize what's happening. It's not, she can't do nothing worse than that.
I think most people
But that's
agree
what
with
I
that,
respect, though, Mike. I respect you saying that, but I can't get other people to just keep it a buck and just say that. They keep dancing around it. They keep saying.
The thing is, you don't. I think what happens is you don't like that, right? You want them to be more politically savvy. You want them to look into her background and say, "Oh, she locked these people up."
No, I want the people who's going. I want the people who, just like you said, that's voting for her for that. Just say that.
No,
Fuck
but
that. I'm voting for her just because she's black, and
that's what your grandmother is saying, bro. That's what she's saying.
My grandmother's saying that, but when I'm saying online, on my page, people won't admit that. They won't admit it.
But I'm trying to tell you,
keep saying Trump, Trump, Trump. Just say that you just want that man out of here.
We have this conversation about identity politics. America has done identity politics since it's been here. White people have supported white people. All the time, every time, before we was even able to run for office, is because they thought white people only was smart enough to do it. When we start getting little pieces in there, they still vote. We look at the Republican Party, they got like 5 black people over there, and they don't even reflect what the average black person thinks. So they've been doing identity politics. Right. Why is it wrong for us to say, look, I'm voting because she's black?
It's not wrong. It's not wrong.
It's the same way it's wrong when they do it.
Well, my thing is not that it's wrong. My thing is that it's limited.
I'm not going to play games by rules that don't fit everybody. You want me to have this? Listen, I'm looking into this. I'm worried about the policy, right? And the white people was like, man, the white lady told the Indian man, "You are very smart and all this, but you Indian, so I could never vote for you." She said that straight to that man's face.
Right. But look, you voted, right? Y'all voted for You'll say you'll be making jokes and saying, "Yo, this old ass man in office," but y'all turn around, made Kamala the VP to vote an old ass senile man in the office.
No, I voted for Kamala Harris. So I'm trying to tell you, when this all happened, I was never. They'll tell you, Angelo, I hated Biden. I never was a Biden fan. None of that. I wasn't even going. I was about to skip the process, right? When they said we were about to get a black woman in office, I said, you know what? I'm with the black woman.
It was a chess move.
It was a chess move, and he was never.
I get it.
Biden was, according to everybody's calculation, he was supposed to be a one-term president, and then when they were supposed to push Kamala to be the president, this was behind the scenes. When they demanded that he have a black VP, this was what came with the demands. At some point, people told him that the polls said that she had no chance because nobody championed. Like you said, she sat around for 4 years and didn't say nothing. And everybody was like, why is she not saying nothing? We know that she has a story. We know this, but they purposely kept her in the background. She didn't. Now, like you said, out of nowhere, to most people who are not politically savvy or don't understand the political process and haven't been engaged with this whole process for the last 4 years, she's just coming out of nowhere. But a lot of us knew that she was there. A lot of us are disappointed because we thought she was going to have more of a say. We thought she was going to be more upfront because that's what was pushed to us, right? So now that we get an opportunity to actually see us, actually, a lot of us wanted to give her the opportunity to do what we voted her in to do as vice president because she never got the opportunity to do it.
And what's most important is we got to have these conversations year in and year out, just not on the 4th year, months prior to the election takes place. So that's important. And we got to start with the local electors too. Like, we got to really teach our people and have these conversations because people don't know, like you said. And most people are going to vote based on emotions. And you got to respect that too, because they want proper representation, visually. You know what I'm saying? They're not even doing the math. So
but I think the other piece that's deep about it is, and I think when I look at politics, and anything really, you have to capture the moments when people are excited. Because oftentimes when people are not excited, they're not going to engage. And in this moment, people are very excited, which means we have a lot of political opportunity to reach people, to have important conversations, to educate folks politically. So for me, even though we should have been doing this many, many years before, we're in an opportune time to seize a moment. My perspective is this: I don't think Black folks should ever do what we see white folks do, particularly when it has no character or it's not, to me,
I hate
politically
that shit.
beneficial.
I hate that
Yeah,
shit.
so I'm not with doing it simply because we saw white folks do it. I think that could be very dangerous and a slippery slope.
We don't
for us.
have that shit in us. We're not born with that evil and hate shit in us.
And we should.
About wanting to
But
see
hold
your
on, wait.
people be successful.
No,
But
no,
wait,
not that, Mike. Not that. I'm just saying in general. I'm just saying in general, we just not born with that type of hatred in us. Like the shit that
And-
you know they got in them, that we don't have that in
now
us.
I will say this, and I think Obama did this happen true. There's power in the symbol. There's power in making history. I think all of that's true. But I think as we become more politically sophisticated, we've seen this happen before. Now it is a moment, because there's so much political excitement, not only to move her into position, but to get more of what we need, not just in terms of the bills that we discuss and policy. I think even the idea of what's happening at local elections. I think she can be an individual who moves in a wave of Black elected officials at the governor level. We have Ras Baraka running for governor of New Jersey, right? I think she can be a wave of progressive Black folks at the local level. So for me, when I'm thinking and seeing the excitement around VP Harris potentially becoming President Harris, for me, it potentially means a lot for Black folks and can send ripple waves across the country for governors, potential Black governors who have progressive agendas, potential Black mayors who have progressive agendas. But it's going to require her to take a particular kind of position. And I'm not sure she's willing or interested in doing that. And that's what I would like to see.
do that if we don't do it. And so we
Precisely.
keep acting like elected officials are like messianic civil rights leaders, and they're not. So the biggest thing that hurt Obama was that Black people didn't want to attack Obama.
Sure.
And so there were folks that were like, I was in meetings with members of Congress that was like, I would come after this dude if I didn't think it would hurt me in my district because he's more popular than me. So I think you're right, and I think, James, something you said earlier, like we have to build mechanisms that are about cultures of civic participation, not voting.
This is powerful.
And if
with
we
the
are,
four of us, this is powerful.
Yeah, if we're not building, because what you just said, here's what's crazy, Angelo. You got Mayor Bibb in Cleveland. You got my mayor in Baltimore. You got
New York.
And I'm talking about brothers who were under 40 when they got elected. So you got Randall Woodfin in Birmingham. You got, and then in the
Lumumba and Jackson.
In the 5 largest cities in America, if we wouldn't have messed up in Houston, they would have all been Black mayors. So you got New York, San Francisco, LA, and it would have been Houston, all with Black mayors and primarily Black women, but still Black mayors. So this move is already happening.
Indeed.
The issue is that we got to stop thinking. I'll never forget, my son. I remember I was having a conversation with Minister Farrakhan, and he's been an amazing mentor for a long time to me. And I asked him once, I said, if you could do anything different, I said, what would you do? He said, who's the leader of the Mormons? I said, what? He said, who's the leader of the Mormons? I'm like, I don't know. He like, exactly. He said, they got $100 billion investment fund. They own half of the state of Utah. They doing business. They're creating power for their people, and don't nobody know who their leader is. And so we got to stop thinking that messianic single leadership is the answer. A President Harris administration is only going to be as strong as we push her to be. When you think about the passage of the Voting Rights Act, the Civil Rights Act, President Johnson was saying to King, I need y'all to
do it. Yeah.
Yes, and
Certainly.
somewhere we forgot that. Somewhere we thought that now we didn't elect a president with Obama. We elected we felt like we elected a combination of a Negro Santa Claus, Jesus, and
Savior.
Moses that
But
was going to
Jeff,
make
don't you think that the early committing makes that very difficult? When we commit early, doesn't
I
it make it
agree.
difficult for us to do those things?
But here's what's
That's what they
different.
doing now.
Here's what's different. Here's what we've never had before. We've never had before. When you think
We got
about
2 minutes, y'all. We got 2 minutes. Let's try.
so Joe Taker, we think about Joe Taker, we think about Latasha, we think about Tamika, we think all of these sisters got access to Kamala Harris. And so we never had that before. We never had a space where real Black folks who really want to make change are not only now a part of the cabinet, but in many cases are who the president will be picking up the phone and saying, hey, give me some intel on this, in ways we never seen that before. And I don't think we can underestimate that. And that's why these sisters are so important and why they committed early, because they got relationship many of us don't have.
That's
And so
exactly.
there was a lot of conversations that happened.
Me being behind the scenes, understanding those, and there's so many things that's already happened that showed that access that a lot of people don't know. From how she picked her VP and everything. It's been Black people and Black women here like, yo, this is what needs to happen, and she's take that against a lot of shit that most people thought she should do. So for me, I understand access is real. Like when you look at the Biden administration, there's more Blacks in this administration than there's ever been in any administration. And this is a fact. This ain't something that I'm making up. So when people keep saying what happened, we got real access and we got real put in positions of power to actually make such changes. Like when you see all the Blacks at the White House and the dances and all. No, you don't understand behind those scenes. It was $100 million deals made for anti-violence, gun violence inside of the communities, that I know brothers that are benefiting, coming home from jail, that's stopping violence in their communities. Like these things was championed by Black people having access to being inside of the White House and being a part of that cabinet.
But it's got to go public. Angelo's point is just that the regular Negro don't know that.
That's a fact.
Still, that stuff is made clear.
And some of them don't feel it. So I think there's a piece where it actually has to reach the people. I think Jeff said it a few times. There's a piece around the media and really making folks aware of what's happening. But I think there's another piece where it has to really translate and touch folks in real ways where they're seeing the change happen and having an impact in their life, which I think the point around us having access, this could happen in this moment. I'm leery. I'm very leery because I do think there's a lot of groundwork we still have to do to make that a reality. But, I'm hoping.
We also need some civics.
Yes.
A lot of it.
I wanted to say this.
My energy need to be with my mayor,
yes,
as much as it is with whoever running for president. I'm
sorry. I
sorry
to say this with my foundation. What I plan to do is have a civics meeting / group monthly, just to inform the brothers about the politics and really do deep dives and help them understand what's actually taking place from the local elections all the way up to the presidency. And of course, I'll invite all of you brothers so we can get it right.
I would love that we're gonna have a part 2, maybe a part 3, because there's some other brothers that I wanted to have in this conversation. But I just want to thank all of y'all for being here. Good to see you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me, bro.
And have conversations even when we disagree, but just understanding, because Black men are very important in this political, stratosphere, and a lot of people don't realize that. Definitely. And a lot of people, I heard a man say the other day, we've ignored the needs of the Black man. When we look at everybody else, everybody's needs is this and that. And a lot of us, we sacrifice our needs for our family. We understand because that's what we used to do. And we used to not hearing, we'll eat last, or we're going to make sure the kids got clothes before we got. But at some point, we can't just be disregarded. So all of our emotions, all of our feelings, all of the things that we have to say here is important. And I'm hoping that people are paying attention, that Black men actually need, at some point, we need a hug too. We need something that makes us feel like we are valued and that you care about what we think. So
we're stronger together.
And we definitely
stronger together.
I appreciate you, brother.
Salute.
Love y'all.
Appreciate y'all.
Stay connected. We got to do this on a broader scale, man, to get more brothers into these conversations and start, diving into exactly what we need to be doing and what we
Well,
feel.
tomorrow, Mice, I go live. Every Tuesday, we have a segment called A Perspective.
I'm
You can tap
tuning in. I'm
Yeah.
gonna tune in. What time?
Yeah.
James, what time? Yeah.
At 7 p.m.
Got you. I'm gonna be in
Y'all
Martha's.
brothers be safe out there, man.
Yes,
Appreciate
sir.
you.
You do the
Love.
same. Y'all.
Appreciate y'all.
Love and respect
All
always.
right.
Shout out to my brothers, dope interview. Shout out to Jeff Johnson. Shout out to my brother Angelo. Shout out to James Bond. Shout out to Gotham. That's the way you're supposed to be able to communicate. Even when you don't agree with someone, you're supposed to be able to disagree with respect. And that's why I don't get it. Why do people think they have to disrespect you because they disagree with you? Right? Like, where did that come from? We don't have to agree about everything. Why do people, especially when you're online, the people have the weirdest way of communication. You say, I like this, or I don't like this. Oh, fuck you, and your mother this. And they communicate with you in a manner that they would never communicate with you in person. Right? So why can't we have disagreements without having disrespect? Why can't men just sit and discuss things that they don't agree with, right? Without calling people out their names or trying to discredit you or calling you a sellout and you sold your soul. Like, I don't know where men got comfortable disrespecting people because they don't agree with them. You know, I think we need to bring back respect, right? And I think we'll have a way better world, right? Because that's once you start disrespecting somebody, everything else is on the table, and it's never that serious. That's just my 2 cents, man. Let's try to respect each other more. Let's try to hear people out, understand that everybody's not going to think like you. Everybody doesn't want the same things that you want. And that's what makes us all individuals. But with that said, another episode of TMI. Shout out to my sister Tamika, who is working on her book right now. That will be out. Make sure that you be on the lookout for it. It's going to be a bestseller. You know, just like this is the #1 show, she's going to have the #1 book. I'm not going to always be right. She's not going to always be wrong, but we will both always, and I mean always, be authentic. Salute.
That's how we own it. That's how we own it. That's how we own it. Oh, that's how we own it.
Check out the video version of TMI
Every single Wednesday on iWoman.tv.
That's how we own it.